Ekranlar önünde bizleri izleyen, dinleyen değerli katılımcılar.
Distinguished participants watching and listening us in front of their scenes, with the collaboration of the Aegean Economic Development Foundation and Özgence Group Corporation, and the support of Izmir Metropolitan Municipality, Izmir Chamber of Commerce, Aegean Exporters Associations, Izmir Doğa Strategic Partnership, İzmir Industrialists and Businessmen Association, İzmir Commodity Exchange, Aegean Industrialists and Businessmen Association, and the sponsorship of this, with the session sponsorship of the Union of Chambers of Tradesmen and Craftsmen of Izmir, Çimentaş Group, Aegean Region Chamber of Industry, Aegean Young Businessmen Association, Aegean Free Zone founder and operator Pınar, with the main sponsorship of Willow Turkey, with the sponsorship of Zorlu Holding, and with the sponsorship of Dünya Newspaper Live Broadcast, sponsored by Bersay Communication Group Media Relations, and with the press sponsorship of Gözlem Newspaper. Welcome to the last session of the third day of the 5th Aegean Economic Forum Conference. In this session, simultaneous interpretation is available, and our guests who want to listen to the broadcast entirely in English can switch to the YouTube channel of the Aegean Economic Forum. In addition, you can access the program details of today and the next days of our website and follow our current announcements from the Aegean Economic Forum social media links. Before moving on to today's last session, I would like to share with you tomorrow's program. We'll be with you again at the same time tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. The route of the future, end-to-end transformation, is the theme that we're going to be talking about. At 1500, under the sponsorship of the Aegean Industrials and Businessmen Association session, it will be detailed how the next generation cities will be for a sustainable life. What kind of a future does the next generation cities concept prepare for? We'll be with you with a panel. During all sessions, you can send us your comments and questions by using the hashtag AEF 2021. All your questions and comments on the Dünya newspaper will be seen on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We welcome your questions and comments. Our esteemed distinguished guests, the last conference of today of the Aegean Economic Forum 2021 will be from Neolithic age to the next generation agricultural systems. So the session will be held and managed by Mr. Mustafa Karabalı, Chairman of ESİAD, Aegean Industrial and Business Association, and Hakan Güldağ, Chairman Dünya Newspaper, Mr. And we'll be giving the floor to our speakers right now. Distinguished participants and distinguished panelists, I would like to welcome you all. And for 2 days, since 2 days, we have been listening and discussing about very important issues, which is agriculture. Agriculture is not only important for Turkey, but also for the world. It is one of the most significant areas of the field. We were talking about drought, environmental pollution, lakes, and on the other hand, deforestation. We were talking about these matters, however, we didn't expect that the pandemic would occur. And during the period of time, we realized how agriculture is important. Indeed, during this pandemic, we have seen that health is also an important issue, but on the other hand, agriculture is very, very important. So technology and agriculture working together is necessary in this manner. And our distinguished panelists are going to be talking about these matters. And as a note, for years, of course, we have been listening the 3 T's. The 3 T's are very much important, which is tourism, technology, and also agriculture. In Turkey, all of the problems, in order to solve all the problems, it is highly necessary that we particularly focus on these areas. This is quite obvious and clear for all of us. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Ali Reza Ersoy. So we were talking about Industry 4.0, we were talking about robots, we were talking about the new world, and we were asking when Turkey is going to catch a trend. However, while we were talking about this, now we have also agriculture 4.0. So how was the accession of both of these issues? What's a trend in the world? If you just can briefly talk a little bit about this, then we can go on further with our next speakers. Thank you very much, Grandach, and to all of my panelists. I also would like to thank everybody who has organized this conference, this 5 days of week, 5 days of the conference. And I also would like to thank all the heroes in behind. Yes, the Industry 4.0 has started in Germany, or tsunami we can call it perhaps, on 2013, and it has been widespread around the world. But we should go back a little bit from that date, I believe. Let us think a little bit about our high school information. So the first industrial revolution has been initiated first in the end of the year 1700s. So this was the age of machines where steam was used. And later on, just almost after 100 years in the United States, electricity was generated. And the electricity was converted into the engine and then into a flow. And then for the first time, people started to have a series of production very shortly. And later on, electronics has begun, which we call the automation age. And later on, we call this also the third industrial revolution. Now, all of these revolutions have been made in a very short period of time, which was not expected. And that caused also the immigration of the people from rural areas to cities. And in the cities, there was art, health, and education was also developing in the cities. And that is the reason why people decided to live in the cities. And even though we create negative issues, we have been developed exponentially. And however, when the Eastern world has begun flourishing in the technical manners, that was also a threat for the Western world. So there was a necessity to say new words. And that's the reason why the fourth industrial revolution has been maybe discovered or by Germany, because the Western world did want to lead again the world in that manner. So now we are talking about here about an industry where manpower is not used. So in international competition, one of our parameter was a cheap labor. So now, but of course, we are not going to be talking about the industry, but we are going to be talking about agriculture. And on 2015 and 16 in Hannover Messe, and later in the Davos meeting, a summit, Industry 4.0 was started to be called as a motto. Not only the German industrialists, but all of the industrialists in the world, not only industrialists, but also financial guys and financial experts started to think and talk about it. So we're talking about the digitalization of manufacturing. That's all as a basis. However, it happens to be that in the world, that the sectors should also follow it. For instance, logistics 4.0, health 4.0, even arts 4.0. For instance, we are talking about galleries where there are no statues or no paintings. It's totally made up from holograms, for instance. And when you put 4.0 next to a certain sector, we understand the digitalization efforts of the sector. Agriculture 4.0 was also had to make that change. In Holland and New Zealand or Canada, in countries such as developed countries, the smart agriculture or farming has been initiated, or precision farming is also called, and that digitalization is used here. In the last period of time, it is called as agro for 6.0. Now it was 4.0. Now we will have also 5.0 and 6.0 later on as well. So what happened in the last few years? How did we agriculture put 4.0 next to it in such a short period of time? It's very easy, because what we describe as 4.0, there are cyber physical systems, the Internet of Things, big data and analysis, and such technologies, all of such technologies, all of them actually is used in agriculture, in supra or infra soil, etc. We could actually use all of these aspects, all of these new technologies in agriculture, and it has become in such a way that it is quite a big necessity. As we all know now, the population of the world is 7.5 billion, and in a few years we are going to reach up to 10 billion people. So there's a great amount of a threat here. So that's the reason why we have the Agro 4.0 has been initiated. As an electronic engineer, I believe that this new type of automatization is going to solve many of our problems. And now I'm going to stop talking and leave the floor to my other friends. Thank you very much. And you have given some certain information about the past and today. Mr. Arçin Güdücü, and I would like to give the floor to you right now. So you are dealing with agriculture, indeed. So you're the Secretary General of the Izmir Agricultural Technology Center. What is your approach in that manner? Yes, thank you very much. And I want to talk a little bit about my project in the Izmir Agricultural Technology Center. And now I also would like to explain where we are with the presentation. As you can see, starting up with the logo, you can understand that this is a network. This is the design is a tree, but the networking and all of the sectors have been actually connected to each other. It says we have been the Izmir Trade Stock Exchange has been founded in 1891 and is one of the oldest ones in our country. And since those years up until today, it has become quite important that we put the technology inside the works that we are doing. Let me just briefly explain you what we are doing. Actually, agriculture, we all know these issues, as it comes from the name of the theme, Neolithic. Since the Neolithic ages until today, the technology, so far agriculture has actually passed through many steps since the past. But factories, however, started using technology much more earlier compared to agriculture. So no, the IoT technologies could be, or the wireless cables, or big data and cloud, for instance, are technologies or sensors. Such technologies gave us the opportunity to use these IT technologies in agriculture as well. It's a technological opportunity. It facilitates what we are doing, and it also brings us solutions to serious problems of agriculture. And why are we seeking for such technology? Let me just talk a little bit about my institution and why we have started working on these matters. Actually, Izmir, we as an institution is actually a stock exchange institution. Without a product, it is not possible to make commerce or trade, of course. And that is the reason why neither the producer nor the exporter can survive without the product, of course. And agriculture is a very, very important aspect of it, a very strategic sector indeed. As we are not only making trade, but we are making also operations, transactions in the stock exchange. And we have also ISADASH, which is a research and development and consultancy services institution. And we have also storages called ADASH. And we also have the Izmir Agriculture Technology Center, and we have the Aegean Gastronomy Center. So right now we are making electronic hall operations. These are what we are doing right now on the spaces. So all of the commodities, all of the chains of these commodities, supply chains, have to come in end to end. This is a continuity of a value chain, actually. This is what we regard it as. And of course, there's a necessity to have technology. From where did we found it? Where did we find it from? We have actually members of 2,000 people that is only dealing with farming. And in Izmir, as the product, as the farming products, agricultural products, and many other areas in agriculture, we have different cooperatives, and on the other hand, we are coming over any kind of a problem. We are trying to come over any kind of a problem that the agriculture sector is bringing to us. And on the other hand, from olive oils and dried fruits, etc., are areas of our interest, and we have experts as well in our institution. In the last 5-6 years, we bring up the strategic problems together combined. And I believe that one of the most important things are such challenges as I'm going to talk to you. The average age of the farmers is high. This is a general issue, actually, not only in Turkey, but also in the globe. On the other hand, we are the importer of technological devices as well. So we are lagging behind in implementing innovative products and applications. On the other hand, there is an area that should be filled about modern agricultural methods. On the other hand, we have the global climate change, and we have wrong cultural implementations, energy, fertilizers, and agricultural pesticides is imported, and that is also a problem for us. These are the challenges that we are facing. That's why
and it was related to the smart farming, and we wanted to check what is going on in the world with respect to smart farming, smart agriculture implementations, and what is the situation of our country, and what to do in order to get the maximum benefit for farming sector. And as a result of these workshops, we figured out that we had gaps in two important issues, and we needed certain developments. One was related to the use of digital technologies, and also along with its sub-dimensions, and also the lack of agricultural R&D and entrepreneurship system. Yes, we have some R&D techno centers, techno cities. However, for the agricultural ecosystem, we need the real site work, field work. Techno parks, techno fields only provide us the table work, that's it, office work. But the ones who'd like to work about agriculture need poultry and also farms and farmers and academicians working in this field. So this is an ecosystem. And when you are going to evaluate or develop a financial implementation, you can do it in a closed office. But if you are working on olive trees, you need that tree, you need the engineer that can work on it, and you need that farmer working on that farm. So we saw that it was a lacking point for us, and we also had the feasibility project for Agricultural Technology Center in 2018-2019, and we asked certain questions: how to provide some experimental implementation areas for entrepreneurs so that they can get training and directions, and how can we support the production with this entrepreneurs' participation, and how can we also support the central place of the centers of the agricultural technologies. So this is the end of my speech. This is the end of the first part. Thank you very much. This is certain things that we really like to see in Turkey. From end to end, everything has been told very well. And in the second part, you are going to mention everything very well, I guess. So it's a great planned action. I hope it's going to fulfill its targets, and I'll be also listening to the targets later on. And Özgehan Bey, I'll continue with you. Farm Labs. In the past, there was the Google Labs, Enter Labs, and it was all foreign technology-oriented brands. We knew their laboratories, but Farm Labs is related to farming technologies. Right now, we can also say there are laboratories of agriculture, and in Western countries, of course, there is much more advanced technologies about farming. But when it comes to the precision agriculture, what can you say? What is the concept behind this terminology? What can you say? Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the panelists for your attention. As you all know, today is the 10th of November, and I'd like to extend my gratitudes and also the longings for Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of Turkish Republic. Farm Labs was founded many years ago, but we started our works in 2007, and our motto was as this: why there was no digital company CEO in farming sector. It was started like a joke, but in 2007, we submitted an R&D project to TÜBİTAK, Turkish Scientific Institute. Then we started to follow and monitor farm fields through satellite images. And back then, there were no drones. We had the satellites and certain aircrafts, air devices, and we started like that. And geosys, it is related to geotactical works. So we initiated our field of works together, and we started working on Farm Labs. And then we understood that this is a topic which must be evaluated under a different umbrella. And in the year 2011, we became a company, and we have been providing our services as a startup. We can transfer our know-how. We already were on the sector, but with a different brand, we became much more active on the field, and I'd like to share my presentation. I'm activating it now. So in the first part, I'll be talking about precision agriculture. Actually, as of 2007 till this day, we have made precision agricultural works in general. Let's go back to its history. There are different definitions about that, but I'd like to share what we understand from precision agriculture. It's the concept which increases the quality of land and productivity on the agricultural production, and at the same time it uses minimum level of water, fertilizers, pesticides, and some other inputs. So at the end, it covers all the strategic and technological instruments. And there are different concepts and on the agriculture. We all know that as IoT and big data, artificial intelligence, we are following the developments of the ministries very well, but there is not such an official definition for smart agriculture. Smart agriculture is like at the very top. It's like a conceptual definition, but precision agriculture is like the practical way of putting a smart agriculture on the field. This is the real practical reflection. As we have mentioned, IoT, big data, artificial intelligence, and 5G are developing very fast, and they have been embedded with agricultural production, and they are used in farming. And precision agriculture can use these technologies, and at the end, they can get low cost, and it can use various inputs. So I'm going to also define that. And it also protects maximum revenue principle. So this is like a sum of a technology aspects. And this is from 2016, I guess. This is our big picture as Farm Labs on the agriculture, on the technology. This is how we see everything. There is this agricultural loop. You just plant the seed, then you are also adding the fertilizer, and there are some different fertilizers applications. From time to time, you provide some pesticides or medical agricultural medicines, and at the very end, you are sowing what you planting. And then after that, you can process the land. Sometimes we can have this loop, we can this cycle twice or three times in our country in certain regions. So why we created this picture? Actually, this is like the agricultural process, and we wanted to map agricultural process item by item, article by article, and we wanted to see which technologies could be implemented in each and every phase. And of course, we needed some different R&D projects to develop different technologies, or else equities, or else some investment support. Thanks to this, we can make everything possible as a product so that we can be available in Turkey and in the world as an institution developing technologies. Planting the earth is very important because we are providing the fertilizers there, and this is the precisions here are actually different from one another. For instance, seed must be planted in 17 centimeters intervals. So we need certain precisions of the machineries having that 17 centimeters intervals. But fertilization could be defined with certain meters of intervals, distances. So there is not such a single implementation. Different precisions are gathered together, and based on that, different technologies are provided. So first of all, we are starting with planting, and then we make this base dressing. By the way, I'm talking about the maize and also wheat. And then with the satellite images, thanks to the meteorological data, we can monitor how these plants are evolving. And in different places, to the extent that they need, we add water, we make the irrigation, but it's not the same amount. It is based on their requirements. And then we make this top dressing, top fertilization. It's not more or the less than the need of the plant. So if it needs more at a certain place, then it is fertilized more and more. And also we make the disinfectation on the fertilizers, on the pesticides. But at the very end, what is important for us is, of course, the reaping, getting the harvest. And with these combined harvesters, with reapers, we can see what parts of the farm is much more productive or not, because we have certain special systems on the combined harvesters. And with some imported devices, we can also measure the quality of the products, at what place it is high, at what place it is low. So on quantity-wise and quality-wise, we can collect important data on the harvesting. And these data could also be used as an input in the next harvesting cycle, so that input management could be enabled. I've emphasized every point one by one, a bit longer, but it was really important. And we can talk about three important technologies. First and foremost, it is related to monitorization, and the other one is related to implementation and also precision support mechanisms. Monitorization is related to GNSS, GPS, global positioning systems, and IoT systems that we take measures on the field, on the farm, like the humidity and the temperature sensors on the land, on the earth, and also the salination values of the earth. For instance, on Harran Basin, and I'm going to be talking about one of our projects. So what kind of products are planted in this lowland, in this plain, and also we are using meteorological status sensors, and at the very end we monitor everything. And after that, on the management systems, we have the field farm management systems, because in one farm there are different fields, and each and every field is just a habitat by itself. We have the human resources and human management, and also financial management, business management. We have the decision support system. It's also available on the mobile sections. And there are various different ratio implementations. So it's very much related to implementations in the precision agriculture. We have 4D cultures. These are abbreviations of some Turkish words. So the correct resource, correct rate, correct timing, and correct position. So we should be giving the exact amounts to the environment and to the land. And maybe in the second phase, I can talk about our pilot project. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Well, when I was listening to you, maybe you have brought those correct 4Cs into one single C in your own company. I think if a company wants to work on farming technologies, I guess they should just be knocking your door. It's been a very nice presentation, and I wish you big successes in your journey. Sanjar Bey, we can continue with you in journalism. Of course, it's valid in every profession, but it's very important to make a report from the field. So for that reason, all the information, all the data on the field, like the sound, like the effect of the wind and sun, I believe this is very much different. So what is going on your farm? Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to me. Yes, I'll be giving examples from the practical side, and I'd like to give you our own implementations in our own farm. If you allow me, I'll just immediately start my presentation. Just excuse me for a moment, please.
Slide'ı görüyor musunuz şu anda?
Evet, gayet net.
Tamam, okey. Malum 10 Kasım.
As you all know, this is the 10th of November, and many things are uttered in 10th of November, but I think independence and also stability, consistency is very crucial. When we talk about smart farming, industry 4.0, precision agriculture, these are very crucial for our independence, because if a country can't produce their own food, if their production levels reach to a certain place, you can't be successful. And if you are dependent on other countries, it means that you need to hold your neck to other countries. We have to be producing, and we have to be very much efficient in our production. So I'll be mentioning the importance of productivity and efficiency. And first and foremost, maybe you can think like this. I am 47 years old, and I lived in my first 11 years in Turkey, then I lived in Switzerland, then I lived in USA, then I came back to Turkey, and I found myself in agricultural sector. And the mean age in agriculture has been mentioned. Yes, mean age is increasing in agriculture, but there are certain reasons. Lack of profitability. People don't want to be in this business, but when technology and farming comes together, I believe there are very exciting areas that could be open for youngsters. When you use technology, you don't need more manpower. For instance, I can give you an example from my own farm. In agricultural technology, 6,000 square meter area could be managed with just 5 people. And this is, in terms of efficiency, very crucial. It's not related to having less number of personnel or more qualification, less qualification. It's not like that, because we are very much away from the old traditional farmers working with the shovels on the farms, but we can further work on the offices as engineers in our farms. If we can describe the situation to youngsters in this way, I believe it's going to be much more attractive for them. Why did we need precision technologies, precision agriculture as a farm? Because everything is enabled in this way. If you make a mistake, you can see this in a very blunt way, and you can also have data in order to protect yourself from falling into that mistake once again in the next year. One of the biggest problems in agriculture is like that, my grandfather was doing like that, especially if you're under stress, you might think that, my grandfather was doing like that, let's go back to his basics. So when there is stress all the time, it's like you want to go back to traditional. It's much more convenient for the nature of humankind. If you do not come from sector itself, if you use the technology, you should definitely be using data very efficiently. This is very crucial. We have meat and also milk, dairy products. We have very high numbers of production. But when we were starting the precision agricultural ways, we were turning our face towards international arena. Because we realized that, by the way, it was 2014, I guess, we were producing corn, maize, and I was saying that 1,400 tons was very good. For these years, it was like a miracle, actually. And then I realized that after making a bit research, then I saw that 3,300 kilograms of productivity. One of the record owners, Mr. David, for instance, at this volume. So in the same field, in the same square meter area, this big difference. So you can understand it is something huge, and it is sustainable, it's repetitive, and it's not something happening by coincidence. And each and every year it can happen, and we realize that we are doing certain things wrongly. So what is this?
So we farmers generally take a look to our neighbors, to our relatives, and there are those on the social media who are actually showing off, but we do not care about them. But in the rural area, however, there is the necessary information is not given to the farmers. So we need to also give information to the farmers. Let's say that the 3 tons of corn is given to it. So you need to explain and communicate with the farmer in a proper way. When you make that communication, then technology in agriculture will help the farmers, and later on, I believe that agriculture will be getting better. It will be getting better and better every day. So definitely, we need to give information to the farmers. But as it is said by Mr. Özgan, indeed, the farmer doesn't have to be a mathematics engineer, but there are people, there are companies that are giving that service to them. Timing is very much important. It's a selection of the tools, the devices, the vehicles are very much important. For instance, in Turkey, which equipment is necessary for that farm is very much important. Unfortunately, we are farming society still is not aware of which type of tractor they have to buy and not to buy, etc. So that is the reason why this is an area where we can actually convert this into an advantage. The sensitive agriculture is very much is used in the Western world, but we have just initiated it with the drones in Turkey, with the precision culture, I mean. And in 2016, it was just like that in Europe, but technology train can still be catched by Turkey. So we need to have a good communication about this. We need to make the farmers aware, and we need to train them. We need to mobilize, and we shouldn't forget that most of the inputs are made with foreign currency. So when you make a purchase with the current foreign currency, it is very harsh indeed for the farmer to relieve in that manner. It's not easy to relieve, so you have to use your own currency. Now, let's say that each season is very much important for me. I shouldn't lose anything at all. So if I have a challenge, I need to understand the problem of it immediately and very clearly. So you can plant corns. You can plant corn, for instance, in a 2 decarts or 3 decarts, or you are going to plant 100 seeds of corn in a more larger area. So you need to understand the profitability about this. This is a productivity map on the right-hand side of this area. There's a blue area, as you can see. So after we make the harvest, what we receive as an information here is that there is a pipe, a dripping pipe over there, and there is a problem here. We need to actually cover that area, but it caused a lot of damage. For instance, if there was a problem there, unfortunately, you are late for that season. So which tractor has been used, for how many hours in that certain form, which devices have been used, how much did they keep there, how long did they stay there, what are the downtime of the workers there. So it's a very comprehensive analysis that we started to do. From each parcel, we made a loss and profit analysis as well in order to understand what to change. We were making a scaling here. It gave me a great amount of power, so I didn't leave anything to destiny, to fate, or to the weather. I'm passing this part quickly, and later on, this is a theme from 2017. And later on, we started using the drone technology on 2017, and we started seeing the farm from up above. And as you can see here, we have made the health maps as well. When we get close to this, the area that is red are infertile area. So we made the analysis in that soil what the problem is. So we try to make the treatment of that area, which actually increase the productivity. So now we can actually see the farms on a 3D way with a drone. So you can see here the red dots, which are problematic. I'm just passing these very quickly. With that, here, when you think that the light green is bad and the dark green is good, you will think that the upper part is better. But as far as I'm concerned later on, that was actually the shadow of a cloud that was passing there. I was really concerned at that period of time. Why is it that part productive and the other not? Then we realized that it's really good to use the technology, but clean data is also very much important, and of course, experience is also a part of it. And we're taking analysis from all these areas which we believe is infertile. So we need to also convert the tractors into a language as well. Now, these are beautiful pictures, but what are we going to do with those pictures? If we take that picture, we can understand the productive and unproductive area. And we can, when we separate it into three, it's productive, medium productive, or not productive. So we understand here how much fertilizers are going to be given, or what type of a treatment is going to be made, is seen here. There are variable treatments that we are making right now. All of this is possible, but it is always after effect. So just after the corn or wheat is about harvested, we realize the problems. So so we have these sensors, the sensors that we call as underground sensors. But these underground sensors are not very productive. We have now sensors that we use for the tractors, and we can understand as the tractor is moving in 10 centimeters squares, we receive one data. So for each centimeter square, we receive one data. And we can see here the amount of the seed. If the soil is productive, we can actually put more seed there. If the organic material is less in another place, maybe we can put more fertilizers and lesser seeds, etc. These are momentarily made. And since 2017, we have initiated this system, and in the farm, we could save a lot. Right now, they can all be used properly. But now we face another problem. So I have my soil analysis, my leaf analysis. I have the data from health, irrigation, financial, tractor, equipment data. I have all these data. But what am I going to do with it? I am a farmer, and I am compiling it, and that has to be analyzed. And that as a result of that analyze, I have to see what the conclusion is. So in music, we have the MIDI format, for instance, a MIDI format, all instruments are talking to each other. So we do have, this is something that we are lagging behind right now. Now, all of these data has to speak to each other and can prepare a report for us. Because too much data is also sometimes only garbage, because you cannot really process it. Now I want to leave here. I will leave the floor to my friends here. But before that, so what happens when we cannot develop in agriculture? And that's why we cannot be competitive in the industry as well. And I'm going to be talking about this matter as well later on in the next round. Thank you very much. And we were asking what was happening in the field, but it is explained to us what is going on in the field, Mr. Ömer Yunus, General Director of Smart Mole. we were talking about water, and water is very much important, of course. Nowadays, the importance of water is becoming even more significant. And right now in Glasgow, in the climate summit, we also see that not only states are talking about it, about water, but also companies and individuals has to properly use the water. This is something that everybody emphasizes right now. And what to do is the technologies are very prominent. And I leave the floor to you, sir, in order to talk about your technologies. Thank you very much. And let me just start immediately without further ado. And I would like to commemorate Mustafa Kemal Atatürk again on this day of November the 10th. And now let me just briefly explain myself. Since 1995, we are making projects and also contracts of irrigation. We are making projects that has a methodology, and even though they are implemented properly during operation, we can show that the operation was not going on properly. So 15 years ago, we decided to change it. If something is not operable, then it is not meaningful to actually put it. If you are using a drip irrigation, and if it creates problems in the field and in the farm, and if there's a lot of consumption of water, then this has to change immediately in a very radical way, I believe. And this, as a matter of fact, we have made different types of researches in Turkey and also in abroad, and we received patents. And after we received the patents in Izmir, we have opened up a research and development centers, a branch, and we have prepared projects. As we were producing this, so there was a certain concept that was important for us in theory and also according to the practices in the field. There's something conflicting. In one area, the technology is, of course, moving forward. But now, I would like to ask a question to you. If we go to a farm and if we open a valve group and think that we are fertilizing as well, after 5 hours or 4 hours or 3 hours, if I ask you this question, water and fertilizers, where is the water and fertilizer? Where is the effective root area? This is the area where the productivity is taken at about 70 or 80%. So we are only irrigating that area, and the amount of water is moving inside the soil, and that has to disseminate to a maximum volume. And according to the natural forces, of course, the roots become more healthier and more stronger. So this is a philosophy behind agriculture. But when we make the patents and when we produce the technology about this, as it is said before, there are different types of subjects that popped up. But what interested us was nature. If we talk about water, in 1 million unit water, if we have 1 million unit water, only 63 unit water is used by people, and 70% of it is used for agriculture. So sustainable agriculture is very much important. We need to save from water, definitely. And when the water is surplus used, they are going to the underground waters. And all the fertilizers are also added up into it. So these synthetic fertilizers are also mix into this underground water, it creates nitrate inside, and you cannot clean it at all. If we have this, if we think this concept, we started to make a research about Industry 5.0. What is 5.0? Manless technology focused on agriculture. So Society 5.0 or super smart society is actually a concept where a growth and development is occurred with such a way of thinking as an as a person of agriculture, as a person who's dealing with agriculture. Right now, it is not possible to only train the farmers or the local administrations because we do not have the time any longer. That technology, however, on the other side can be used for the awareness of the people, of the society. Still, there are some certain acceptances that are wrong. For instance, the IoT systems are not working properly. It's just wrongly orients the farmer. And if you bring this up to the field and if you increase the fault, the error, the mistake a little bit more, then you cannot overcome the problems. If you the day when the data gets dirtier in cloud, it is not possible to filter it. So that is the reason why we, as within the context of Industry 5.0, we believe that the producers definitely need to actually use these technologies. So they actually experts of the subject has to involve in Industry 4.0 and has to find out cyber systemic designs for that. In this, if we cannot create it, Industry 5, which is based in Japan, this flow, if we cannot actually catch up that trend, what happens to us? I will be talking about this in the second session. But as a complementary part, if you could share the video with the audience about Industry 5.0, I would be more than happy.
Bugün size tarımın tarihçesinden, küresel ısınmadan, çölleşmeden, susuzluktan bahsetmeyeceğim. Sanki su yönetimi yapıyormuş gibi çözüm olarak sunulan sulama yöntemlerinden, kontrol ünitelerinden, nem sensörlerinden, anlamsız inovasyonlardan da bahsetmeyeceğim. Zaten mevcut çözümlerden herkes çok memnun gözüküyor. Birçok parametreye dayalı teorik hesaplamalar ve uygulamalar var. Hepsi toprağın altındaki iki gizemli soruya yanıt bulmaya çalışıyor. 1. Bitkinin %80, %70 suyunu kullandığı etkili kök bölgesi nerede? 2. Etkili kök bölgesinde şu anda sulama sırasında su ve gübre nerede? Bunları bilmeden doğru bir çözüm üretmek mümkün değil. Smart moles yani akıllı köstebekler yüksek teknolojisiyle etkili kök bölgesini öncelikle tespit eder ve su ve gübrenin sadece etkili kök bölgesinde yönetilmesine imkan tanır. Smart moles tarım 5.0 teknolojisine haiz matris yapıda toprağın altındaki etkili kök bölgesini tanımlayabilen ve sadece bu bölgede su ve gübreyi yönetmemizi sağlayan, dünyada ilk defa siber fiziksel teknolojiyi kullanabilen bir yapıya sahiptir. Bu haliyle çiftçilerimizin sulama uygulamalarında yapay zeka destekli olarak kendilerine cep telefonlarına attığı mesajlarla yardımcı olur ya da direkt olarak yapay zekayla otomatik vanalarını yöneterek ciddi anlamda su, gübre ve işçilik tasarrufu sağlarken verim ve kalitelerini arttırmalarında yardımcı olur. Sadece cep telefonlarına gelen bir mesajı takip etmeleri yeterli olacaktır. Smartphone teknolojileriyle her şey size özel.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ömer. With this video ending, it's been a very effective final, I guess. And I'd like to say this, our 5 panelists, they all have given important opinions with respect to the future of Turkey and the world. But when I checked the timing, we've said that 75 minutes must be the case. So we are talking about sustainability and keeping our promises. So we have 15 minutes and we don't want to exceed that time. And for that reason, our esteemed panelists, I believe you are going to be very much tolerant to our timing. I mean, if we have this pace, we will need an hour more. So in order not to make our spectators, audience more tired, we will keep up with the timing rules. And maybe, Ali Rıza, so you can also talk about Barbaros Villages projects. You need to unmute yourself. We can't hear.
Rıza Bey, sesiniz gelmiyor ama bir daha deneyelim mi?
Ali Rıza Bey'in sesinde bir sıkıntı var.
Ben şu anda...
We couldn't hear Ali Rıza Bey's sound.
iMac'in mikrofonu çekelim mi Ali Rıza Bey?
Şimdi geliyor.
Evet, geliyor. Ben şimdi tekrardan geriye sayıyorum Ali Rıza Bey size. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Evet dostlar, kısa bir mikrofon hatası arası.
So there was a very tiny technical problem. I guess my 3 minutes just will start now, right? Okay, my dear friends, I was born in this village, and after that, for a long while, I worked for a technology company. Then I just wanted to go back to my own place. I was very enthusiastic coming back to my village, and then I was really fall in love with permaculture experiences. A lot of people was reacting against our idea, but we applied permaculture, and it was very successful. And we were also thinking what to do next, and then we saw that 4.0 could be added because we are now trying to add the digital side of the issue. And then we saw that it was still not sufficient, and we asked again, what's next? What should be the next step that we need to take? And then we also have seen that there's minus carbon concept. We all are aware of the zero carbon level. When you come to a certain level as countries or as institutions, as companies, all of your activities should be neutralized, should be taken down to zero level with your own efforts. We need to decrease the carbon release, carbon emissions to the atmosphere, or else we have to get certain services by paying, of course. But if we say yes, everything goes on very smoothly, but there's this carbon minus concept, and we said that carbon minus. Of course, I congratulate you. What you want to do is perfect. Going down to zero is perfect, but it's not sufficient. And they said, okay, well, what to do? We have to be on the minus levels. Well, okay, what does it mean? It means that till the age of 60, you have given certain harms to this planet, and all of it, some should be eliminated and cleaned in your life from now on. It's not going to be neutralizing everything that you've done in your past. You're going to eliminate, neutralize everything, and then you're going even much below than what you have done. So we are right now planning to use our farm in Barbaros village, and there is the photovoltaic, solar and biogas, wind, and also heat pump technologies in this village, and electrical energy is going to be generated through these technologies. And when we give this electricity to the electrical transmission companies, when we give it back to our planet based on very simple mathematical calculations, you can, by the way, research about them. So all the harms that I have given to my planet till the age of 60 years of age, for instance, unnecessary luxurious cars, unnecessary very expensive textile garments, I think in the upcoming 15 years, I can eliminate what I've done in my past. With renewable energy, I can prevent carbon release, and then I will try to eliminate my wives and my sons. I can't see the effects altogether in the future, but this is my dream. I'd like to say my planet, I don't have any doubt to you. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kindness as well. Thank you so much. We were having a chat with Güler Sabancı, and we were also saying the very same thing. Even for individuals, there is this concept of carbon calculation, and you have already started it for yourself. And we are calling everyone to be a partner to this great attempt. Elçin Bey, we can continue with you. Yes, we have a second part, but I promise you, when I come to Izmir, we will discuss your presentation with more details. But what is the real benefits? I'd like to ask this question, of course, without providing you the presentations. Last part, I'll mention this question. We have used different parts when we were having this project, but of course, we were taking the philosophies of our great leader, founder of Turkish Republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, says that the basic way to create prosperity is agriculture. So we, of course, take this as our basis, and we want to make investment on agriculture, and we want to be on the industry and technology side of agriculture. Özgehan, Ömer, and Sencer already produces. It's a technological production, but we have many friends and young entrepreneurs like our panelists, and we have mechanical engineers and agriculture engineers, and not only from the agriculture sector, but many other people are also directing themselves towards food processing. But it's not going to be a classical, ordinary techno city, techno park, but we are right now establishing a real techno center, which is in line with the farm. The technologies have been uttered before, and monetization and image processing, decreasing the cost, using the resources in a sustainable manner, drones, sensors. There are many fields. And in those areas, it is not something that we are inventing at all, but there are certain added value things that we can do on a product, on a device. And these are certain things that we can add some values on the processes as well. And we are dreaming of a center which can motivate all these attempts, and Ministry of Agriculture, Yaşar University, and some other stakeholders, Izmir Technology Center as well. They participated in our efforts, and they helped us. We have brought all the resources together, and in the upcoming 2 to 3 months, we will establish the firm and we will activate our events in Menemen, in one of the regions in Izmir. It's a place which is very much easy to have an access to farm fields. Our stakeholders from academy and private sector and real farmers and people working on the fields are brought together. So we believe that this center can meet many needs for the technologies, for instance, dairy, like milk production, Sencer Bey has mentioned. We can bring entrepreneurs, investors with farmers, because we don't want sources to be wasted. We want to work towards the joint target, and of course, education and training to the farmers. This is also another aim of our attempt. And we'd like to also realize certain events on the public side as well. I don't want to take much of your time. Yes, it's the November 10th, and we are, of course, commemorating Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's soul, and we are following his path. And with all the services that we give to our nation, all the softwares, all the devices are going to be replaced with imported goods. This is what we want. This is what we desire. We want to develop alternative products to the imported goods. And maybe in the future, to the best extent possible, we can decrease our dependency on imported goods. This is main target. This is main goal that we are achieving, and we'd like to, of course, create sustainability on efficiency. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, and we wish you success in your new attempts. Thank you.
Bir.
Teknolojinin azizliğine biz de uğradık.
Unfortunately, this is the weakness and vulnerability of technology. Please forgive me. Özgehan Bey, okay. We would like to also talk about your projects. And this is also a very important project for Turkey. It's the Southern Eastern Anatolian agricultural project. Thank you very much. I'm not going to also give you a presentation. I'll summarize what I'm going to mention. And Sencer Bey and I have just 3 years between us. And my target is, after, of course, finishing these things, just giving myself to the farm. Of course, his presentation is like a role model for me. At least he has inspired me, and he has strengthened what I have already on my mind. And Elçin Bey, hopefully you will have a great work in your Techno City. We are in Middle Eastern Technical University, Techno Park, Techno City. I guess Ankara University is going to open up a new center for agricultural works. Having this kind of centers in Turkey is really crucial. Another point I'd like to mention is that, yes, we are listing technologies and we use some of them, and we also have seen some others use these technologies. And how are we going to disseminate it to Turkey? We need policies for it. Maybe central government can work on this furthermore. Yes, they have already had many studies, but maybe the local governments are needed in this respect, municipalities or some development agencies. On the local level, they need farming development purposes specific to the regions. I think it's something that we desire the most. These are certain messages of mine, and I'd like to summarize my project, and I'll conclude my speech. Sancar Bey was talking 3 million square meter area, and in southeastern Anatolian agricultural project, it was 387,000 square meter area, and this was just like the monetization process. But when we come to the implementation, we are of course lagging behind Sancar Bey's field, but it's on the 150,000 square meter area. We have been implementing our pilot projects, and we have used various ratio inputs. This was our purpose, and this inputs efficiency were tested. This was our target, and the methodology we used was, by the way, we worked on controlled agricultural farms. There are different types of farms, controlled ones. These are owned and controlled by the state. We were giving the fertilizers to the fields, to the farms, and on one side of the farm, conventional farming continued, and on the other side, we divided the farm into different parts equally, and then we used precision farming. We applied base dressing and also top dressing fertilizers, and we applied everything with our own devices that we developed, and we also made everything smart with our own software, and automatically on the field, we made these fertilizers to be applied on the field. So the efficiency was kept constant as fixed. We wanted to decrease the inputs, and on the base dressing fertilizers, approximately 40, and on the top dressing, on the top fertilizers, we had 33% of savings. In the last couple of months, on the news, we heard that it is very difficult and expensive to have fertilizers, but when we have a look at these savings, 40%, 33%, if we say just 20% all around the country, I think it's a great number. Annually speaking, it can actually compensate itself. We can reach that internal profitability. Yes, with these words, I'd like to thank you very much. And thank you so much once again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sancar Bey, just to get inspired from your farm, I wish, by the way, you can reach what you have targeted. There is a farmer, and that farmer has its own land. And by the way, you have fought against too many challenges, and the technology is very complicated. To its simplest terms, that distance that you have come for these years, for a farmer to go that distance in a shorter period of time, what should he do? First and foremost, farmers should gain money. This is a prerequisite. Unless they gain money, they can't adapt themselves to new technologies. This is not possible. So there's been exchange of the Chamber of Commerce and the
aracı olmak veya işte bir nokta olarak belirliyoruz.
I'd like to say this very specifically. Normally, in developed countries, when a product is not even planted under the earth, its commitment is given on the exchange, stock exchanges. If it is not on the system, for instance, for a year, for instance, potato gives you money, and next year you can have banana or watermelon. So, but if this is the system, then farmers can't go to different places. They stay on the same place. They can't do anything. people right now, even some farmers can't find any money even for their own children's needs. So reaching to fertilizers is something else, and buying animal feed for them is again something different. And people are very much close to this kind of opinions. And when I say to them, this is a must, they just tell me, oh, you are already, rich, you can feed yourself, you can meet your need. So you are at the, of course, a comfortable site. That it's very easy for you. And they are right. They are correct, definitely. And there are chambers of agricultures, and maybe chambers of agricultures could be given much more responsibilities, authorities by the Ministry of Agriculture, veterinaries, and also agriculture experts, engineers. They can help the farmers, like family practitioners, family physicians, help the families about their health. It could be applied. I mean, each and every farmer might have challenges about their animals or farm types or land types. So Van and Bursa plantation is totally different from one another. If you give incentive to me 2 times and to that person again 2 times, it's not fair because it's something specific to each and every land. So recommendations and incentives must be given based on the specificities and peculiarities of that region. And we have to remember one thing, on the agriculture, there's too much added value, but first and foremost, branding should be the real case. The geographical marking, this is very crucial. Geographical registration, this is the must, and we need marketing support.
Hani İsviçre'de büyüdüğüm için söylüyorum. Önemli bir şey peynir. Fransa'da, İsviçre'de.
Cheese is very crucial because I grew up in Switzerland. This is very important. In Turkey, there's 196 types of cheese. They are very delicious.
Geçen sene benim yanımda
we can actually export, and it's horrible that we cannot export it. A friend of mine has made an olive oil, and he was rewarded in Italy in a prize. So now this olive oil is going to be sold by the Italians, maybe with an added amount of a pricing. So if we cannot actually work in all of these types of aspects, then we cannot, whatever we do, technology will not help. Stability is very much important, and then we should actually take the population. The young population can be taken back to the rural areas if we can actually properly and precisely organize everything. And as employment in rural areas occur, then factories can be established in unproductive areas. For instance, there are so many areas in Turkey that the organization, the factories are built up in such places that you cannot actually reach to every party. So it doesn't have one formula, I can understand. And I see that there are many challenges, and I hope that we can combine everything with technology. And as you said, because it's not easy to return from any kind of a mistake, it takes a year at least. Mr. Ömer, I would like to give the floor to you. What is the great score of Turkey in irrigation? Irrigation is important, but we need to change the method of irrigation. We need to use pressure irrigation. the water management, what we call, is very much important when we all combine everything all together. We need to also consider in the first 10 centimeters, there are microorganisms, and these microorganisms are very vital for the food. And we need to also think about this and not harm these microorganisms. And that's the reason why we need to use a technology in order to make everything clean and proper. I used to actually, I was trained also as for astrophysics. Physics. And now I would like to give a talk about a person who is also an astrophysicist, Hubert Fries. He's a Canadian astrophysician. He says that we are in war with nature. If we win, then we're going to lose. So that's all I would want to say. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, distinguished panelists. And I also would like to thank for the audience, for the patience. And a friend of ours who we lost 3 years ago, he was always talking about the production, and agriculture was his main theme. And I also would like to commemorate our founder, the founder of the Turkish Republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, as well, within this context. I hope that with all the speeches and all the presentations that we listen to, will help us go forward in the future in a more hopeful manner. I would like to thank also the Aegean Economic Forum for giving us the opportunity.